All right, welcome everybody to this Weekend Showdown. It is opening day. It has been the first week. So, Yawggy, how'd you enjoy the first week of baseball?
Good. Rangers went 2-1, so it's a good start. I think they said on the broadcast it was their first road opening series win since 2013. So good
Yeah.
start to the season. So yeah.
I guess those small sample size numbers are so random.
Right. When you think about 2013, it's been like 6 or 7s. If you're saying you're alternating every other year, it's like yeah, it's been 13 years, but half of those are gonna be home. So it's like yeah. So it's one out of their last 6 or 7, road
Yeah,
opening series. So
yeah. My Red Sox played the Cincinnati, and I miss them having like the traditional like parade and the whole like kind of being the national opening day being in Cincinnati every year.
right, yeah, they had that opening night in San Francisco, yeah, this year. So it was a little different.
Yeah, let's speak. So of the opening nights, right? Here's what we'll be going over. So this week we're going to be just reviewing the 10s and 11s. Obviously, super small sample size. How'd they do? Top 10 ERA. Also, it's always fun to see who's on pace to hit like 250 home runs
Yeah.
for the year. And then we finished our first week of draft. So you finished the first week of draft, and
hmm
it'd be cool to do a quick review. Did you watch the Netflix?
Most of it I did, yeah. Yep.
So, all right, are you having the same problem like finding all these games that I am?
Like as far as what they're streaming on and when and how. Because what
Yeah,
was it Monday night? Is it Sunday night or Monday night's on Peacock now or something? So it's yeah, they've changed everything.
yeah. I just had Peacock. So what was it? There was John Miller and Joe Morgan on ESPN that during my formative years.
Uh
So
huh. Absolutely.
that was an institution, right? So now you're moving around. It's all different people. It was fun
Yeah.
seeing it on Netflix. I mean, it was weird. You see celebrities and uh, Jameis Winston doing Jameis Winston stuff, but
Yeah, yeah. It's more of a spectacle than I'm more of a purist when it comes to broadcast, like game first, than kind of filling with things. And there was just a lot of extra things that kind of missing the first ABS challenge was kind of weird, where they were interviewing somebody instead of showing that. So
well, if you're gonna watch a couple of games here, I think it'll be like, were you around when they like started doing the replay in NFL? Were you watching that much?
yeah, back in the day, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then where they would just like explain it, or even now when they just explain a catch where it's like, a guy can run through the center of the end zone. It's like, okay, you got 2 feet in here,
Mhm.
football move. you know, so they're doing the ABS thing where they're explaining it ad nauseum. So if you watch a game a week, you'll have it down pat here soon.
Right. Yeah.
It was interesting. What are your initial thoughts on ABS? Is it quick enough for you?
I think I'm hoping to get a couple seconds quick. I mean, it's not it's like 5 seconds, so it's not too bad. But it does seem a little longer than I expected. I figured once they called it, they'd be able to do it right away. But there's a couple second delay before it gets shown. But overall, it seems pretty cool. Seems to be working pretty well. I was reading something over the week where they're talking about is one of the new catching metrics going to be how good somebody is or how accurate they are at challenging. So when if framing goes away, is it going to turn into how good they are at ABS?
I mean, the Reds beat my Red Sox because they just handled it better the second game of their series. They had like 5 calls overturned. I was curious, the guys who are good at framing, like Bailey out in San Francisco, does he get knocked down a peg?
hmm
So all in all, everyone's teams are up and playing a bunch of good series. So that was like, it's good to have baseball back.
It is very good to have baseball back. It's always something to watch. It's great. Even if the Rangers aren't playing, I just love watching baseball. So it's every day I'm turning something on. I work from home, so like if there's day games, I can just have a game on. If it's a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock game, I can have a game on in the background. It's great.
Yep. So same here. So it's great to have the early games on. So last week we went over all the 10s and 11s who we thought would repeat. I'm just gonna say I was 100%. All the guys I thought would repeat there in green. All the guys I didn't are in.
Absolutely right.
I nailed Ryan O'Hearn being one of the 2 guys to be over 400 on base with a home run.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Bichette getting booed. What today? He got booed pretty good. So his response was funny. He said it took long enough.
Yeah, I mean it
So.
seemed like it was in the online forums it was starting. I mean he spiked a couple of grounders right early in spring training, and that didn't do him any favors.
hmm Yep.
So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, everybody.
I don't worry about early season woes, especially with new teams. Like when Lindor started in New York, he had that really slow season his first year, and Lindor's Lindor, so he turned it around, and it's fine. But Bichette's too good of a player to have 067 for the whole year, so.
Yeah, yeah. Pedroia was the one that I remember early on because his rookie year he started out slow, and Boston not known for their infinite patience, especially. It's funny they through spring training they want like right now. Marcelo Meyer is just like put him in there, right? Like, just on the Red Sox. But then like if he started out hitting like 150 for like 6 games, it'd be like send him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, short lease. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one of those. Like if you take your advice from the fans,
yeah,
you might be sitting among them. Any surprises here from this list for you?
If Trout can stay healthy, I mean, he's looking good so far. So, I mean, again, small sample size, but he's always that wild card where he can be a 10 if he's got the sample size enough to stay healthy and get there.
He's patient enough. The question is, will he be a speed A? Well, like one, will he get the at-bats to be a 10?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, does he have another 10 speed A, like 500 plus point card left in him?
Right. Yeah. Ramirez hitting under 200, but Ramirez, he's about as steady as it comes. He should get back up there. Watching the Phillies series with the Rangers, Schwarber, there's just there weren't many. I mean, the Rangers pitchers today gave a lot of walks, but other than that, Schwarber's a big walk guy, so wasn't a whole lot previous today. Other than that, so
not to Schwarber and Harper, those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. Again, I'm small sample size. It's interesting. Anybody? Well, I mean, let's go through the guys who did do well. Chase DeLauder, right, with 4, so he's on
4 home runs. Yeah,
so he's on pace for the 162. So you got. I think someone had he was passing Barry Bonds like sometime in like 2030 like.
Yeah. I was looking at the leaderboards today as far as stats and the offensive stats. It's just crazy what small sample sizes do. And beginning of the season, when things are inflated and like the top like 25 players, it's just like it's B tier, C tier players. It's not there's not a whole lot of A tier players up there. The one wild card I think coming this year was Murakami and what he's going to do. So a strong start in Chicago, at least with him, and interesting to see how that goes forward with his power, especially.
Well, and Lau had 31 home runs. Right, you see it here on the card. Mm-hmm. He had 31 last year. He's got 10% of that.
Right.
Already, and that was a good year for him last year, right? He, that's about all you could expect. So it's like, okay, is he going to get to the 35, 40 level? Probably not, right? None of these guys. I remember Ty Wigington one year was like leading the league through like maybe 10 or 12 games. It finished the year with
right
like
in the middle, yeah.
Runs.
Yep. Yeah, Langoliers has always had that pop from behind the plate. So I'd be curious to see how he goes. But he's all or nothing. It's home run or nothing. So he's gonna have a really low batting average with a bunch of home runs.
Oh, those are those Oakland guys, right? So how about DeLauder, rookie? Where do you think? Way too early to start.
Way too early. We'll see what the scouting report comes back and they catch up with him. That's pitchers. It seems like pitchers make a lot better adjustments than hitters, at least off the bat. Hitters can go off fast, and then the pitchers will catch up.
Yep. So okay, let's put the over under at 24.5 homers. Where do you go?
24.5. I'll go under.
You're gonna go under. Okay, I will. Yeah. Let's say maybe limps into like 28, which is a great rookie year.
It's a terrific rookie year. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like we're spoiled because we lived through Alonso. Mm-hmm. That was crazy, but that's a good and Kurtz
right, and they're the exceptions to the norm, and so I always default back to what's the typical kind of rookie. You see these, everybody expects hot starts and big stats right off the bat, and that's just outside the norm.
Yeah, nobody's banged up, right? Everyone's as healthy as they're going to get right now.
Yep.
All right, we had talked about this offline, so. You had 7 of the top 10. I mean, this is a great week. We'll review every 40 games or so every quarter of the season. We'll kind of do a check-in on the top 10 ERA and on base for the year. But I thought it would just be fun since, all these guys did start for their teams, right? These guys were all their aces last year. What does a small sample size look like?
67.5 ERA for Skeens. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
I think the average ERA is 4.5. If you plug everyone together, I'm trying to figure out what your ERA goes crazy if you're under a full inning pitched.
Oh yeah. There's just no reason to look at the stats at that point. Yeah, especially when your center fielder can't catch a ball. So
Put a glove on it to get an error, right? Like,
right, yeah, it's not even an error because he couldn't get a glove on it. Yeah, yeah.
well, he's seven, so you got 7 guys who haven't even given up a run. I mean, obviously, the first start of the year, not a lot of guys are going 7, so they're not really, there aren't guys who are getting that 7 inning pitch.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Hunter Brown's stat line, but it was 102 pitches in 4 1/3 innings.
I saw.
That's just
I
nuts.
didn't realize how many pitches he threw.
Yeah, it was over 100. That's why I was like, why do you only pitch 4 1/3? And it was 100, over 100 pitches.
So
So,
Logan Webb was like the honorary 10 ERA guy, like for the people who were cracking the draft league that we did, like because he is like mechanically unique and just like a innings eating. He's the only guy who really eats a ton of innings. He got shelled,
Yep.
shelled by his standard, right? Not Paul
Right.
Stevens shelled, but
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Christopher Sanchez watching that game, he looks like Cy Young front runner. His stuff was just nasty. It was good.
Crochet, I watched his. He kind of muscled through it, right? It didn't, it if he had given up a run, it wouldn't have shocked me.
hmm
Freed obviously had was shaky early and then I don't know if he was dominant, right? I don't think a ton of these guys had huge K numbers, but they were good. They were getting people out.
Yeah, Sanchez had 10 Ks. That was the biggest, I think, of the group here. Yeah, Hunter Brown had 9 in his 4 innings. So,
Yeah, you get all the pitches, right?
yeah, yeah. But he also walked, what was it, 4? Yeah, he walked 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, again, take it with you might see unusual stat lines that you'll never see again. It's always interesting to check in. Again, about the 40 game mark, we'll bring up another slide and we'll just see who's actively in the top 10 in ERA. Because when I'm making my set, that's where I'm making these. These are charts that you can't just get without being in the top 10.
Yeah.
So checking in there. Anybody good at have like a good pitching performance who we didn't mention in here?
I think Joe Ryan with Minnesota. He looks like he's always kind of underrated, and my brother's an Orioles fan, so talking to him, he was really impressed with Joe Ryan that opening day for Minnesota.
Didn't their guy go off? Didn't he? I thought the Orioles pitcher went crazy. Andy went crazy in our league.
Oh, Trevor Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did well too.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, we'll hop over here. We just finished our first week of the league, which is always fun. Most exciting is like no one got swept.
Yeah, that's always good to see.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, these roads are going to diverge for some people, right? Like some people are just, it's not going to work out or they're going to run to bad luck. But, nobody's looking there going like, oh, great job.
Yeah, everybody can climb back into it. It's not, when you go down 0-4 to start the season, it's like, okay, what's wrong with my team and how does it get better? So,
it could be nothing. One of the guys, the fringe guys, has only 3 relievers and that hasn't.
Yeah. That ended up working out okay, just because they have I think 2 or 3 6-inning guys, so able to stretch those out a little further and use the bullpen a little easier that way. So
I think you have Scooble and Crochet, who are like, we'll pull up the stats in future.
Yep. Yeah.
Crochet had the most strikeouts with an 11, which is like, pretty tough to do in a non-strategy card league.
Yeah. They had Scooble and then Crochet. Well, Crochet threw a complete game, 8 innings, so that helped with the bullpen. That's not going to happen all the time. So we'll see in other series what happens if they don't have somebody going. An 8 inning complete game is a lot different than a 9 inning complete game, especially in Showdown, because that's tough. And the 9 innings for a starter.
Well, yeah, Crochet would go be a 1, right? So he would be
right,
and likely he's going to be at the top of the order or like in the middle of
the worst part. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not, in perfect game you can get 7, 8, 9, but assuming you've let a couple people on, you're gonna run into the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like let's just pull it, depending on what the score is. In our league, talk me through the strategy here a little bit for folks who aren't following it a ton. There are no strategy cards.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't. A lot of people will lean on like a 3 up, 3 down as like basically points in a strategy card, and there's none of that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you gotta like if you want your innings pitched, like you gotta draft them and you gotta pay for them.
Yep. Yeah. It's bullpen management becomes really interesting. And what I found, because I try to go through these games really quick. I don't want to spend 45 minutes managing a game, especially when what did we figure out last time? 200 and something to do here. So it's
40 something.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get these done in 15, 20 minutes a piece, and so it's trying to make quick decisions. Especially, so it's the hardest things I'm finding is when to pull the starter, and what bullpen arm to bring in against who they're facing in the lineup and how long to leave, basically how long to leave these pitchers in for, because it can snowball quick. And one thing I found here, if you look at run differentials, I don't think we're going to bring up the actual like the line scores for all the games. Big innings was kind of the theme I saw, and when looking at all the line scores, when the dice don't roll in your favor, it seems to happen a bunch of times in a row, and it's how that lines up against where it is in the lineup versus who's pitching and what their control is.
Well, and you're using the clutch dice, right?
Yes, so we're using if the pitcher rolls a 20, then we're rolling a 16-sided die for the batter, and if a pitcher rolls a 1, we're rolling a 24-sided die.
So that actually that helps somebody like Crochet, right? So it's like if he gets the 20, just an out, and maybe
it's an out. Yep.
Could get a free K, right?
Right. Yep.
And then even a 1, it's like, well, 1 he gives up the advantage a bunch, but a 1's not any worse than it is anywhere else, right? Like I think certain guys benefit more and less, right? Like I have Kershaw who's a 5-1 to 15. And it would just be backbreaking to get the 20 and then still get somebody on.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting because some of these guys, if they roll a 1, their control's so high that some of these lineups, half the lineup is a 6 or a 7, and so on base. So if you get a 1 and you have a 6 control, you got a 7, and you can still get the pitcher advantage even rolling a 1. So you have a 24 clutch die against that. So
are you doing the extra base for everything over 20, or what do you do for?
Nothing nothing, no extra base over 20. No.
Oh, okay. So it's always interesting to see how people handle that, right? So it's like, but that happens so infrequently, right? You would need...
Right, yeah. I don't think that happened at all in any of the clutch dice. I know there was a few home runs that otherwise wouldn't have been. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% positive that when the 16th dice was used, nobody reached. Like every time it was an out. So
yeah, I mean, you just gotta. I mean, you need to. If it ever happens, it's just because there are a couple 1 to 14 out guys who, it's like, okay, there's a real chance you could give it up. So
right, yeah, I think the Grant Wolfram is a reliever. I think has a 15-16 walk. Yeah.
Is there somebody who gives up? Is there someone in the set who lets someone on at a 14? I can't remember if they got.
I think there is. I think there's a reliever.
There's a 6 who maybe doesn't give up a double, but it's just okay, yeah, all sorts of wild. So you're playing all these games. What are you seeing? Any trends starting to emerge, or is it just so much data that you can't really take it in?
Like I said, the only trend that I've really noticed is the beginning kind of crooked numbers, 3, 4, 5 runs in innings. But yeah, other than that, a lot of lineups with slow players, a lot of double plays, a lot more than the short season we had last time, the 6-team league. It seems like there's a lot more double plays, just anecdotally. That seems pretty big.
Yeah, my thought on the set as a whole was it was a slow set and a very good fielding set. Mm-hmm. Again, my when we get Showdown bot on here, maybe we'll have him on one of these weeks. It would be can we be more strict on getting 4s and 5s in the middle of the infield and twos at first base.
But it seems because it seems like for infield, you don't even really need to try to get 10 infield, as far as, and there's a lot of players in these middle of these lineups that are 8, 9, 10 speed. So it's basically an automatic double play against a lot of these defenses.
Oh, my whole team basically, right? So
yeah.
We had talked about this. We had two different, you were like, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight the fight. I'm going to get right. And I was like, okay, I could have a 14 or I can have an 8. I have Giancarlo Stanton. I'm out either way. So
right.
Let me just let me just min max to get as much bats as possible. I will say, we'll show stats here in coming weeks. My one goal is I will lead the league in home runs.
That seems to be on the pace. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my power. Well, so I was trying to teach Claude. I was trying to give it archetypes. I was trying to give it speed and then Moneyball or on base and then a power. And it tried to do power, but it didn't really grasp the concept.
No, I think it kept on trying to call 19 power elite. So yeah.
Yeah, it was basically just buying expensive 10 hitters and then had to just try to make a legal team there down the stretch.
Yep.
That's what the strategy was. So awesome. Anything else kind of about the league? Well, also a pretty cool moment I saw. So, you give these write-ups and these reviews, and I'll make a video and post it on the YouTube for people that review it. But so Will Smith has a 10th inning walk-off home run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then like the last real memory of baseball is like Will Smith's home run.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this week it's his birthday, and bobblehead, if you're watching the Dodgers game, like bobblehead day, and he hits a big home run.
Yep. Yeah. It was cool to see him. Well, I liked it that he walked off just in the 10th, because with some of these bullpens, having extra inning games is really scary to me. To have to try to manage that and get through it, because they get real thin real quick, especially with the bullpen rules we're using. Any extra innings out of the bullpen is just makes for a dire situation.
Oh yeah, it's yeah, it's why. I mean, I bet everyone in the league would be like okay with like a tie after 12 innings.
Yeah.
Like, or I guess like if you go to extras, anyone who pitches tired in extras, if it's their first time, they're not necessarily tired the next day.
Yeah. If it gets into a situation like that, we might have to talk about what to do there, because it can be funky. So
I mean, so we've had our first extra inning game, so let's and have you started the next round?
No, not yet. Yeah.
Well, let's just. I think that's a reasonable rule. Like the rules that we have are if you pitch 2 games in a row, you're tired the third, right? Like nothing wild there. But if in the first game you do pitch tired, you don't get to pitch the second. You start the second game tired. I think if your game goes to extra innings, we can just waive that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that benefits everyone and makes it like reasonable, and so there isn't like a 15, 16 inning game that just
obliterates 2 teams for 3 series or something like that. Yeah.
Or like the next game, they're both just throwing their starters.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm perfectly fine with that. Like I said, that was I think that was the only extra inning game there was. So.
Yeah, 10's fine. I think you have to like build your team to be able to handle 10, but like 15, and especially if it's like your number 2 going into your number 3, or your number 3 going into your number 4. Like if you're 4, like you can just like, okay, most of us have a guy who we can like rely on for a while. Like I may have the worst one with Kershaw.
Yeah, probably. Everybody has at least stats wise, yeah, or the chart wise.
He didn't do great. I mean, he's the, for those of you who aren't looking around, he's the David Cone card, right? The starter David Cone. But yeah, so awesome, very excited. Excited to kind of show what's been going on. We've been using playing around with ChatGPT or Claude to try to get ways to get the league information out there.
Yep, yeah. Well, Claude's team was interesting too. He's got personally, I just think he got really lucky with his starting pitching. So.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Again, people will diverge here.
Yeah.
You and I are stuck in the 2 and 2 slot here. That's always interesting. I always look at it because I want to see like, did this resemble, like, is this still like a reasonable facsimile of a baseball game?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing, right? Like we were trying to see, like with 12 people, like does anything break? And it's like, okay, it still holds up. Like it's tight and it's competitive.
Yep. Yeah, you're looking at. Yeah, I look at the stats after the first, set of games, and it's just like, okay, this is kind of weird. There's a couple people hitting over 600, and then like a couple people hit 3 home runs, and then you look this weekend from the first series of games in MLB, and it's like, okay, yeah, this happens in real life. Like to your point, Kershaw getting blown up, or there was somebody else's number 1 that got blown up, and it's like, well, Skeens didn't even make it through the first, so like it happens, and so it's okay.
Yeah, and I think the counting, because you don't sub guys out, the counting stats end up doing better on pace.
Mm-hmm.
So the most runs scored is 24. So that team averaged 6 runs a game, which isn't wild.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of those was a 13-run game. So.
Yeah. If someone's averaging 8-10 runs a game,
mm-hmm.
Then it's like, okay, like we're not really like playing baseball anymore.
Right. Yep.
And then like the guy who pitched the best, he only gave up 10 runs. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.5 runs a game, which is very. I mean, it's good, right? Like if your team has a 2.5 ERA, that's wild. But I don't know he'll do that forever.
Yeah. Especially once we get into the other, because the difference with the first series versus the rest of the season is everybody's fresh. There's no tired. There's no But going forward, we're going to have relievers that are coming in that they're going to have 2 relievers that are tired or that through the previous game, and so those tired things move over to the next series, and so we have less to choose from or more ripple effects going forward.
Yeah, you have to stretch guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something where a Crochet at a 3 is like when he has to be stretched. you got trouble.
Right. Yeah. Or somebody like Wu that threw 8 innings. He's got 20 home run on his chart. He allowed 1 run, 8 innings. That 1 run was a 20 roll. Like, what happens if they get 3 or 4 20 rolls with runners on base? So
How many home runs? How many home runs are on pitchers' chart? I remember in the 6-man league there were a bunch.
yeah, there's a bunch here. There's one team that has like 4.
I mean, I saw Iglesias hit a home run for me. I mean, obviously Claude is like completely emotionally like removed from
Yeah.
what having a home run on your chart is, right? Like,
Hmm.
so yeah, Iglesias hit a home run, so it's like my goal to lead the league in homers. Like anything I get from him is a home.
Yep. Yeah. I think his was a legitimate like 19 or 20 home run. I don't think it was off of a 20 when that allows it, but yeah.
I had something like Nick Allen hit one for me in the last series or the last season we did.
I don't think he didn't get a double, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't have much, but what he's got a lot of.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to share on the league before we let everyone go for the week?
No, not really. Excited to keep it going and see how things progress. So things are going well so far, and looking forward to see what changes over the next series.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone has anything they want to have us show, we'll show like who did well over the weeks coming. This first one's weird because there's no cumulative stats. Like the stats for this week are the cumulative stats, but we'll start showing stats in different ways and how that impacts like making the 2026 set. I know in the Facebook group somebody posted their 2025 set and labeled it the 2026 set. If I can advocate for anything, it's like please just label them the right year.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care how you make your set. Please just tell people Wizards of the Coast couldn't do it that way because they had to like keep retail space and they didn't want to. It's like cars where they sell the year ahead. Like, please label your sets with the right year, folks.
Right. Yeah. If you're calling something for that year, it needs to be what that year is. It makes it easier to understand.
Yep. So, Yawggy, always a pleasure, my man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks.